Hello, this is John from the Han Informer,
And I'm Glenn from Fall Ritual.
and this is episode 7 of Fall Informer. And today we have a special guest, Tater from Froggy's Fog.
Hi, guys.
Hello, welcome to Fall Informer.
Hey, thanks. Thanks for having me.
Yes.
Yeah, no problem.
All right. So my first question for you is, what has been the response to your new Poseidon machine? What's been the response to that?
The Poseidon is a couple years old now, and we have found that everybody that has it loves it because it's running on 90% water, 10% fog fluid. It is a overwhelming response. Hard to keep them in stock, but we are trucking along with keeping them in stock and making sure everybody that wants one gets at least one, if not two.
Oh, cool. Nice.
The use of foam and bubbles have become like a big part in the haunt industry. When did that originate? Like who was the first to think of, hey, let's throw like foam and bubbles and stuff like that into a haunted attraction? How long has that been going on, and who kind of thought of that?
So I first saw foam being used back, oh gosh, at Cutting Edge, and I don't remember when it was. It was for some HauntCon tour. And we were advised to not go into this section of the haunted house by Leonard at the time, and he said, "Don't go in there, don't go in there." Well, if you tell us enough times not to go in someplace, we're going to go into it. And it was essentially like a cool little car washy thing where they were spraying you a little bit with water, and then at the end you walked through this pit of foam. I think Todd down there, Todd James, I think he was the first one that I know of that had foam. As for bubbles, I can't really put my finger on where it came from and why it was a good idea.
Right. It is though. I mean, I remember the first time I saw foam and bubbles at a haunt. I think it was about 2009, and I was just blown away. I'm like, this is unbelievable. It was out in a haunt in New Jersey. It was actually on a hayride. It came down from like the top. I was like, this is unreal. Like whoever thought of this is just unbelievable. So
yeah,
is it a big thing? Is it a big seller for you guys? Like
we don't make foam cannons, stuff like that. We just resell some of our friends foam cannons. So we don't sell a lot of them, but there's Foam Daddy and the all the other foam companies out there
Right.
that have the foam cannons that do it. I've not seen it very often in haunted houses, but I have seen it
Right.
sometimes in the haunted houses.
Right. But you guys do bubbles though, right? You guys have bubble machines and you guys do bubbles and stuff.
We do bubbles. Bubbles. I always advise people, if you're going to do bubbles, do them outside in your queue line. Don't put them in your haunted house on, your asphalt or your cement floors, or bubbles tend to leave a residue. So I always warn people, like, what you're getting into. Bubbles are generally slick. If you have a finished concrete area, or if you're not going to do it on grass or gravel or anything like that, then I don't recommend you doing bubbles. But we have the Fobbles machine, I think is what you're kind of.
And I was leading up to that question. Yes. I'll ask it now. For those who don't know what a fobble is, explain what a fobble is and who came up with that.
So a fobble is a fog-filled bubble. It is a bubble with fog in the middle of it. So when the bubble pops, a little burst of fog comes out of it. We created the machine purely by accident at One Trans World. We were lining up all the machines and testing them, and the fog machine triggered the same time the bubble machine did. And we sat back and said, well, why isn't that a thing? And got to work instantly trying to make an all-in-one machine on a larger scale. There was another company, like I think it was like Sunstar, that had it on like a very small like scale, but we wanted to do it where it's a larger scale, It's a better quality machine, and it has lights. And if you want, that machine can just do the fog, or just do the bubbles, or just do fog filled bubbles. So we did that, and that's what you're seeing now, and especially after Transworld, that's what we sold a lot of.
Gotcha.
It is a cool thing though, that to have to combine both, because they are such cool things that haunt, fog and bubbles, and to combine them, that's a really cool, really neat idea.
I mean, I can't tell you the amount of people that I've had run across the showroom floor and pop a bubble and just sit there and just with a giant smile on their face, grown adults just sitting there laughing and popping bubbles.
Right.
And shoving their friends out of their way so they can get that one bubble that they have their eyes on to pop.
And just see fog come out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
What was the hashtag Defuntator? What was that? I saw a couple companies doing that with Brutal.
That is a hashtag created by me. I figured of all the stupid crap that I've done in my illustrious career between Froggies and haunting and everything else, that I should be the first one to be defunded. There was another vendor that wasn't going to the show. He started a lot of negative publicity trying to go towards the show. And he was saying the St. Louis police were defunded and everything else. And I said, it's not, if the problem with him was he linked an article. And if you read the article, it said they took $4 million from a certain section of the police department and just moved it to another section. So they weren't really defunded. So somebody said, well, Tater, because you're commenting on this guy so many times, we should defund you. And I said, well, okay, let's do that. Let's start a hashtag. And I started a hashtag, and somebody said, well, we should get t-shirts. And I said, well, we should get t-shirts. And then it was, we should get stickers. And somebody's like, I'll make the stickers for you. So the hashtag's still out there. It's still going on. I still get random requests from people every day that they want Defuntator stickers. So they're being reprinted, and they'll be brought back at Midwest. Hashtag up everything that we can hashtag up with the Defuntator movement.
Just to confuse people out there.
It was just a fun little hashtag that we've decided to try and do. And Froggies had nothing to do with it, had no idea about it. And I probably should have told them, like, they're not actually trying to get me fired or defund me.
Oh man.
So yeah, it was just a little fun little hashtag that we had, and it was fun to see, because I went through 100 stickers. I don't know where they all went. I went through 100 stickers in about a half a day's time.
Wow.
And I had no idea where they were going. And, people would just walk up, and then you'd walk around the show floor, the small little chance I'd get when I needed to run to the bathroom or something. And I'd look up at Rip City, and they have a Defuntator sticker across their banner, or, somebody would take a picture of me, and they would have the Defuntator sticker on the back of their phone and stuff like that. So
that's fun. All right.
So after hours is the party. That's the fun time, not the convention itself. Of you constantly working.
During the convention, I usually have about 2 to 3 people deep waiting to write an order with me. So yeah, it's all I get to do is sit at a table and with a pen to paper and write, orders and credit card numbers down and stuff like that. So
gotcha.
Yeah.
You guys are based out of, I believe, Tennessee, right?
Froggies is based out of Tennessee, correct? Yes.
Do you guys actually have a store people go to, or is it just online only?
No, they have a plant. And it's essentially just a warehouse where we make the fluids and stuff down in Tennessee. Now, people do come in and can buy stuff, but we don't recommend. I mean, you're walking into a warehouse, an actual production line, but there's no actual store.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, that was kind of the question.
When we made like hand sanitizer, we set up in the parking lot and gave it to all the first responders in that county. They could come through and get that. But as for people coming into our building while we're manufacturing things, it's probably not a good idea. But it is.
I didn't know if you had like a showroom type thing that tests, or if it's just
essentially the showroom is essentially you coming in and saying, "Hey, I need to see that machine," we finding it and plugging it in and saying, "Look, this is what we can do." Hopefully the fire department, they're pretty used to us by now. So
Well, don't you sell things to fire departments? Don't you have like
we sell to
training
fire departments, we
Yeah,
sell
see,
to
there you
theme
go.
parks. But what they don't realize is like if we're testing a new machine outside or in the warehouse, we roll up the roll-up doors and the
Mhm.
cars drive by and see smoke rolling out, and then they call the fire department and they're like, "Oh well, we got to go like, to see if Froggy's is actually on fire."
Oh man.
So it's a fun time. I don't actually live in Tennessee, so it's very rare that I'm in Tennessee. I live in Ohio. I'm the only one that doesn't live in the state that the company's in.
Gotcha.
So you're kind of what, just like a traveling sales?
Yeah, I mean, my job's full time with Froggies. I work from right here in front of my computer most of the time, answering my cell phone and everything. But yeah, it is not. It is not. I very rarely travel to Tennessee to see the plant.
Gotcha.
Nice. Gotcha.
So another question I have for you is, what is your favorite smell from your arsenal of smells at Froggy's Fog? What would you say was your favorite?
My favorite to use or favorite to like prank people with? There's two different answers to that question.
All right. How about an answer to both of them? Like
So
favorite use for like haunts and favorite use for pranking.
I love our haunted house scent. I love our gothic scent. I call those both neutral scents. They're not good smelling, but they're not terrible smelling.
All right.
Gothic is like what you would kind of imagine a spicy wizard's like enchantment room to smell like.
Okay.
Incensey, but it's not too much patchouli and stuff like that. And then the haunted house is like a musty, mildewy, fog-filled haunted house basement-y scent. And I know I sell the straight oil to people who make candles of both of those scents, and we get emails from time to time saying, "Hey, I bought this lady's candle and thanks for killing." I was feeling kind of bummed out and Halloween was 6 months away and I burnt the candle and it brought me back to October and stuff like that. So
nice.
And then the favorite one to prank people with is and I warned somebody. My friend was like, "I need a really bad scent spray," and I'm like, "Okay." So I gave it to him and I said, "Do not get this on yourself. Like, don't, let it leak." I gave it to him in a plastic bag. Like, keep it in the plastic bag. Don't. And I gave him such a stern warning that he was going to prank his like roommate.
Oh no.
But at a show. So it was like a hotel and he was going to spray like a washcloth with it or something.
Mm-hmm.
But I gave him such a stern warning. It's still sitting in the plastic bag and he's still afraid to touch it. And that would be Slaughterhouse is one of the nastiest, most vile. That stinky cheese are kind of a vile thing scent wise. But I helped create mothball scent. Obviously I have a Granny character and I said we needed a scent for Granny. So Granny has her own scent, mothball, and then I helped fabricate the zombie scent because we had, a bunch of different zombie walks and zombie characters and stuff like that at Midwest, and we launched at that time the zombie scent, which is like a dirt and a mildew and a little bit of rotting, scent.
Nice. That's cool. So what bands have Froggy's Fog worked with in the past? Because I definitely know you guys have lots of cool fog effects. I would definitely think that bands would work with you.
There's a lot of bands that work with us. However, we sign NDAs and we're not allowed to really talk about what shows some of our effects are on and some
Gotcha.
and some bands. The one that hasn't so far was Iron Maiden.
Oh, nice.
I can tell you that Iron Maiden has definitely uses our fluids and stuff, but there's a lot of them that, that because that's the atmosphere of the show and that stuff like that. Mm-hmm. They don't want us to talk about it.
Gotcha.
There was a show on Fox called Sleepy Hollow. They were a big customer of ours, trying just to make the woods and stuff foggy and stuff like that. And they didn't make us sign an NDA, but there was a lot of bands, a lot of big name bands that are doing stadium tours and shows that are doing, Netflix and stuff like that. They use our stuff.
Nice.
And then the other aspect of it is we don't know a lot of the time where it goes unless physically, Brett Michaels calls and says, "Hey, it's Brett Michaels. How's it going?" We don't know where the fluid's going. And
Right.
he does call all the time and gets whenever he's going out on tour. And it's the weirdest damn thing. He's like, "Hey, it's Brett Michaels." And you're like, the Brett Michaels? The guy from Poison? And he's like, "Yeah,
Oh,
I
that's
just need some more
awesome.
fluid." And you're like, "Okay."
Nice. Oh man.
There's a lot of production houses, especially for TV shows. They're production houses that buy the fluid and then under an alias.
Gotcha. Like a pseudonym, right?
Well, like if you're ever in LA or something and you see, like, if driving around and you see these, there's always yellow signs and they always have like a name and an arrow.
Okay.
So the one that I always remember is like Stink. And it was like everywhere I went, there was a yellow sign with black writing. It said Stink, and it was pointing, and that's their kind of code because they don't want you to know what show is shooting there, movie shooting. So they always have a code name and an arrow.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that. It's hey, it's somebody from blank production house. We need 55 gallons of fluid sent out to us.
Okay.
So
That's interesting. I didn't know that. So laser swamps have become incredibly popular in the haunt industry. How did you guys create that and think of that idea? Because people are loving it.
Oh, the old laser swamp. It is a powerful tool to have in your haunted house, and people love it. And we knew they existed, but nobody was selling a kit like we were selling. Nobody was doing, you get the lasers here, and then you'd have to go find a haze vendor, and you had to go find, somebody else. And so we just have, we took that idea, and just because we had the ability to get the lasers and we had the ability to give you a haze machine and a haze, some haze fluid to go with that. And then we just said, we're going to teach you how to do this exact thing. And we sold it as a kit. And I think we were one of the first ones to sell it as a kit. But they were some haunts that had it before we came up with it, but they had to individually shop and piece out everything.
Gotcha. So you made it a lot nicer for everybody, right?
We made it a lot easier for everybody. You just come up, you swipe your credit card. We give you everything you need. We tell you exactly how to do it.
Nice.
And the reason why, there's 6 lasers instead of just 4 lasers and stuff like that.
Okay. And you can customize the colors, right? Like you can do different colors.
You can customize the colors. You can go green, red, or blue. Green is obviously the brightest. It's the most popular. Blue and red are kind of a little bit duller of a color. And, but by far the most popular is green. It's definitely the brightest.
Gotcha.
Have you seen one? Most of them are like comes up to you like your waist and looks like you're going through the swamp. Have you seen one that's like vertical where it almost splits the room? Like vertically?
Yeah, so we've done at Transworld this year, we had it at an angle. So it was kind of an angle, and we put Creative Visions are good friends of ours, and they gave us the squishy floor. So you walked in, it was a squishy floor, and it was at an angle, so you couldn't see what was beyond that diagonal spot.
That's awesome.
Well, me and John went to a haunt last season, and it was the first time we witnessed it, and it was awesome looking. It was just because you didn't expect to see it like split vertically, like the room was cut in half, vertically, which is, like I said, you can't see on the other side, so you don't know what you're getting into. Which is
no idea.
Really cool effect.
And if you do it like one right after another, then the actor can come through the first panel and then hide behind the third, and then come back up, and back and forth like that. Or you can use it as like a vertical wall, a false wall on the edge of your room, so your actors can slide over and behind those.
All right. So years ago, I talked to you at Midwest Haunters Convention, and we talked about how you did a live cast with Ghost Ride Productions. But it's been a couple of years since that's happened. What has been your favorite use of the prop of you in haunted houses and things you've seen?
Well, for I think that was 2019 is when
Yeah.
Ghost Ride cast me.
Yeah.
Obviously, Transworld didn't happen at 2020.
No.
I was a hunt manager for 4 years, so I didn't really get to tour as much as I liked to tour. But Ghost Ride always checks with me and says, "Hey, can we this haunted house wants to put your head on somebody else's body. Can we do that?" And stuff like that. And I think it was at Midwest. There was for the bus tour, the Massacre Haunted House had a giant sign out there that said, "Where's Tater? If you find Tater hiding in our haunted house, let us know and you get a prize."
Nice.
And so they were going through and it was my head on a monk body.
Oh, cool.
And it was kind of a scavenger hunt. I kind of like that idea and the hunt that I used to manage, we had another one kind of a thing, but it wasn't my body. We found a little gremlin guy, and we would every night we filled our midway and our queue line and everything else with this missing poster, and we gave him a name. His name was Lil Ryan. He's hiding somewhere in the haunted house. Be the first group to say to tell the merch shack where he is, and you get a t-shirt.
Nice.
And the amount of repeat business that we had of people buying, like couldn't find him the first time through. So they're going through a second time to try to find this little, 3-foot prop that we've hid.
Nice.
And it was kind of a fun thing is like, cause the haunt that I managed was on like different levels,
Okay.
stories. So like the first floor, get it like one night, and then the second floor would be like, "Hey, it's our night to hide him this time," and it was like a competition in there, like who can hide him the best.
Nice.
So he doesn't, and who makes it throughout the night to get, that we don't have to give away. And we're just giving away a t-shirt, it's a $10 t-shirt, but people were actually loving that idea. And they come back every night to see where we would hide little Ryan throughout the show.
That's like Bennett's Curse does a similar thing with the Demon Baby scavenger hunt, where they hide that in their haunt and you have to find it.
Yeah.
On select nights. So cool. That's a lot of fun.
Obviously, we're all big fans of haunted attractions. We all been to many. What is your top 5 haunts you would like to go to that you haven't been to yet?
Oh gosh, I don't know the answer to that question. I've been to so many of them, and it's. I don't know if there's any that I haven't been to that I really like wanted to go and see. Because before I worked, as manager for a haunt, I was a traveling guy. So, if there was a haunt on my bucket list, I would say, "Hey, here's my characters. Here's a week I have free. Do you want me to come out and work it?" So I got to see a lot of them that were really, Netherworld and Haunted Overload and Dark Hour and
Awesome.
Salt Lake Fear Factory and Hobbs Grove out in California and Fear PDX out in Portland and stuff like that. I've got to see a lot of the only one that I haven't really seen and people talk about are the Beast and the Edge of Hell. 13th Gate I've seen, Rise I've seen, Nightmare New England I think it's Nightmare New England, and then New Orleans Nightmare and House of Shock. I got to see both times, and both, it's the same place. It's just under new management now. So I got to see both old management and new management and stuff like that. And, there's a lot. Any of the 13 floors I've been to and seen, and so there's just a lot that I've seen. And honestly, there's probably a lot. I'm going to get messages after this airs. It's like, "You didn't mention my haunt, you jerk." And it's just,
I didn't mean to put you on the spot there or anything, but it's always a fun question I got to ask people because it's like I always think there's got to be haunts out there that, man, I would just love to get to.
There's a Terror on the Fox is a great one that I've acted at. It's on the Midwest bus tour. I always tell people, like, if you're at a convention and they offer a haunted house bus tour, just get on the bus. Just get on the bus. You're gonna see, probably like, and in the first couple years of Midwest Haunters Convention, we went every haunt. I mean, it was like a 2-day thing, and we would just pack. Yeah, we saw a lot of crappy haunts, but even after the crappy haunts, the haunts that are like, wow, this is awful, you still learn something, whether it's, how they put that monster or how not to do something. You
How
still
not to do
learn
it, yeah.
something at every haunt that I've seen. So you get on the bus, have a good time, relax, enjoy yourself, see as many haunts as you can, because you're going to grow your knowledge. That haunt's going to offer something that your haunt doesn't offer. So with that, I've covered a lot of bases on haunted houses, so I've seen a lot of them.
Nice. I definitely
Nice.
loved the Hell's Gate tour when I went to it from Midwest.
Oh, Hell's Gate's amazing.
That was amazing.
I love Hell's Gate. I love the people that work there, and John and Kyle and everybody that own it and manage it are just amazing people.
All right.
So
Nice.
Well, it was a ton of fun to talk to you, Tater. I like learning a whole bunch of new things about the industry and your perspective. And that was episode 7 of Fallen Former. And until next time, happy hauntings.